News Talk Radio 710 KNUS introduces the Private Label University, the only show that dares to unlock the secrets to your online selling success so you can start making money and living your dreams.
I want to be a billionaire so freaking bad.
With over 35 years of sourcing, private labeling, and importing products for the big chain stores and coaching thousands of entrepreneurs, all while building their personal businesses. Let's welcome our Private Label University hosts, the fabulous, lovable, and cutest dynamic duo, Karen and Neil Gwartzman.
Welcome to the Private Label University on 710 KNUS. We are your hosts, Karen and Neil Gwartzman, and this is where we unlock the secrets each week to your online selling success. So visit us over at our website at www.privatelabeluniversity.com, where we offer a ton of free content and where you will find our 8-week Import Success Formula program. The formula to sourcing and importing products so you too can start selling products on Amazon or online and make the money that everyone's talking about. And while you're over there on our website, leave us a message or a question and we will answer it on the show. So now each week we love to highlight an amazing Amazon find, something that we bought and our listeners have bought. So Neil, what is our Amazon find this week?
I love this part of the show. So not only do I love selling on Amazon, I love buying on Amazon.
Me too. I love buying on Amazon.
So the big craze seems to be these days is called adult coloring books. Now for those listening who aren't artists or have no idea, it's not nudes. They're called adult coloring books because they're intricate mandalas and ornamental pictures, could be even of animals. Now they have all these different styles of books, so these intricate designs that you color in. So really for a child, they're not set up because some of the spaces, some of the areas to color are so small and intricate, but people are designing these images and pictures for these adult coloring books, and people who used to be graphic designers are now making them for these companies, and it's a huge, huge success. So any of the art and craft shows, if you go into any of the big craft chains, you'll see a whole section now where they used to have children coloring books. Those are kind of moved to the back, and they have these adult coloring books, and they have ships and cars. But it's funny because I brought that up earlier. Someone said to me, I said, would you like to have an adult coloring book? You're going on a long journey. And they went, what do I want to look at an adult coloring book? That wouldn't be proper. I can't take that on an airplane. I said, it's pictures that you color in. So I found on Amazon, it was a pack of 4. So there was one of animals. There was one of, it was kind of like landscapes, but really intricate landscapes. One was just different symbols. And there were these small 8 by 8 inch books, so great when I'm traveling, very handy to put in my backpack, put in my briefcase, and I can take on a plane. And I take 4 or 5 small pens, usually some of the micro pens or the gel pens. Anyway, so it was called.
And you color.
And I color, yeah, you know, just.
So does it have numbers? Like, how do you know where to put the colors?
Right, you just do. You can't make it a mistake. So even if you go outside of the line, it doesn't matter because you just color it in, and then when you kind of hold it back, it's like, wow, I just did that. So the image is already drawn for you. You don't have to have any drawing experience. You just color it in. And I've said to some of my friends, do you want to try one? They went, why would I want a coloring book? And so
because it sounds childish.
It sounds but we're sitting back. So we went for a long drive, and we sat out and we were looking at just the scenery because we were taking a break from driving, and we all just sat there kind of coloring in with our pens. We're like, really? Is this what we're doing? But then it was fun. And so I enjoyed it.
Some people go to movies. Some people go, skydiving.
Well, they say it's very therapeutic, and it really calms the nerves. Now, some of these intricate designs, if I was going outside the spaces, I don't know if I'd calming my nerves. But they say it's to relax, it's to bring out, enlighten your senses, and just calm yourself. So instead of watching TV or just
I guess
listening,
you become very focused, right?
Exactly,
it gets you focused.
Exactly. Dexterity, so, handling a pen and making sure you stay in the lines, but you can make some beautiful pictures. So it's a big craze right now. It's a billion-dollar craze around the world, and I bought online, it was called Adult Coloring Book Set of 4. Adult Coloring Book Set of 4. It was only $14.99 for all 4.
And they're mini?
And they're mini, and it was by 4 popular designers that are out there. So typically they'll sell in stores and retail stores from anywhere from $5 to $50, and these small ones will sell on average for about $7 to $10. I got 4 of them for $14.99 and the free delivery.
You're a good shopper.
Yes. So, and my kids are like, oh, can I have it? No, they're mine. Get your own coloring book. This is mine.
And do you use crayons?
I don't use crayons. I use fine, actually I was using, it was a Yoshida pen. It was called Le Pen. So I even felt good when I was drawing it. I was like, what are you using? I'm using Le Pen, not just the pen.
Well, your birthday's coming up soon. I'll remember to buy you a set of crayons for your coloring books.
So if you call and you say, what are you doing? I'm coloring.
Or if the kids are missing any crayons, I'll know to come find you.
Yeah, are you working? No, I'm coloring.
Exactly.
So great find on Amazon.
No more video games.
Exactly. Type in adult coloring book set of 4. You'll see it for $14.99. Free delivery. Great find this week.
From Amazon.
From Amazon, yes.
Amazing. Love that. So I'm really excited actually about today's topic because we are getting ready to go to China for our Sourcing China trip to the Canton Fair. And I'm even more excited because we are taking one of our mastermind groups to the Canton Fair next week. So what an amazing experience to take all that we've learned from our Import Success Formula program, and now we're going to be able to implement it at the fair. Again, if you're just joining us, the Import Success Formula program teaches you how to source and import and private label products so you can start selling them online or in retail or on Amazon. And we now get to implement all this at the fair next week,
and when you say
right?
import success, so it actually teaches you how to import and source products from China?
Exactly. Well, from anywhere, really.
From anywhere.
But we're going to the Canton Fair, which we're going to talk about today, and it's a great place to really
implement everything
and find suppliers and great products and
manufacturers,
new products.
Right.
So actually, Neil, why don't you tell us a little bit about, or actually a lot about the Canton Fair?
Well, I'd love to, because I've actually been going to the Canton Fair since the
it's in China.
It's in China since the late 80s. It's in Guangzhou, so it's in southern China, just about an hour and a half away from Hong Kong. So Guangzhou is a huge, again, metropolis city in where everything, all manufacturing and export is going on. And of course, they hold one of the world's, and I think actually it is the world's largest commodity trade fair. And the reason why they just don't call it a trade fair, they call it a commodity trade fair, because it incorporates every type of commodity. So commodities meaning anything from hardware products, car products, motorcycles, bicycles, healthcare products, furniture, ceramics, carved pieces. I can go on and on. It's really everything. Toys, luggage, apparel,
Do they have this?
clothes.
Do they have this?
They have, yeah, literally, if you look around the room, computers, computer
Mm-hmm.
accessories. They have a whole building of just women's shoes.
Well, I hear that they have over 50,000 booths.
50,000 vendors, yeah. So it typically was vendors from all over China. And of course, there's tens of thousands, if not more, hundreds of thousands of factories and companies there. So even companies that are importing, let's say, from other countries, let's say from Vietnam, if a company in China has a product that's maybe implement some of the raw materials from Vietnam or from India and have it made, they show the product. And now it's so large because they actually incorporate what they call international pavilions, where they have companies from, India and the Philippines and Sri Lanka and even the U.S., where they say you can show your product here.
So U.S. people can exhibit?
Well, yes and no. There's been some companies, like the big companies, maybe an HP, Hewlett Packard.
But I think you have to have a manufacturer facility in China, because it is a China.
So they'll call it like a Sino company, where they're related to it, but all the manufacturing really comes out of China. And the commodities, again, it's extensive. Even paintings, hand-done paintings. When you go to a lot of these sites where they have prints that are done from photographs, all the frames, all the inkjet material, it's all from these factories in China. So it's a mega show. It really is. And it's beyond any type of North American trade show that you've been to. And again, because of the huge population in China, it gravitates, it invites every type of company to exhibit there. And, they have, for foreigners that are visiting, it's an amazing place because they have everything there for you to see. And again, with 50,000 booths and vendors, it takes up a whole part of the city. It's an amazing thing. So there's tons to see.
Amazing. Unbelievable. I cannot wait to go there.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
So actually, we're going to take a short break here, but we're going to come back and talk more about the Canton Fair. We are Karen and Neil Gwartzman with the Private Label University.
News Talk 710.
Would an extra $1,000 a month, $5,000 a month, or even $10,000 a month help you live a better life? It doesn't have to stop there. People just like you are making thousands of dollars selling products on Amazon. The best part is, it's simple. All you need is a product. Karen and Neil Gwartzman, creators of Private Label University, are here to show you how. How to find that perfect product so you can join millions of people and start making the money that everyone is talking about on Amazon. Private Label University unlocks 35 years of secrets about sourcing, importing, and private labeling products for big chain stores. Karen and Neil truly believe in you, so much that they'll invest $500 towards your tuition in the Private Label University program, the Import Success Formula. Go to Karen and Neil's website at privatelabeluniversity.com and enroll in the Import Success Formula program. Enter code PLU for $500 off your tuition of the program when paid in full. So what are you waiting for? Head over to privatelabeluniversity.com and sign up today.
Guys, everybody knows good things come in sets of 3. What does that have to do with anything? Well, get this. March is the 3rd month of the year. It also happens to be our friends over at Harry's 3-year anniversary as a business. If you're new to Harry's, I've got a special deal for you. This is a terrific product. German-engineered 5-blade cartridges. It's a close, comfortable shave. There's no cuts or burn. Full refund if you're not happy. Factory direct prices. There's no middleman. Ships right to your door. They sell their blades at half the price of leading brands. So why pay $32 for an 8-pack of blades when you can get them for half the price at Harry's.com? The Harry Starter Set is an amazing deal. For just $15, you get a razor, moisturizing shave cream, and 3 razor blades. Plus, Harry's will give you $5 off that order, the first order, with the promo code Prager. Go to Harry's.com right now. That's HARRYS.com. Enter code Prager at the checkout. Harrys.com.
We now return to the Private Label University with your hosts, Karen and Neil Gwartzman on News Talk 710 KNUS.
For those of you who are just joining us, we are Karen and Neil Gwartzman, and you are listening to the Private Label University on 710 KNUS. This is where we unlock the secrets each week to your online selling success. So visit us over at our website at www.privatelabeluniversity.com, where we offer a ton of free content and where you will find our 8-week Import Success Formula program. This is the formula to sourcing and importing products so you too can start selling products on Amazon or online and start making the money that everyone's talking about. And while you're over there, leave us a message or a question and we'll answer it on the show. So we were just talking about the Canton Fair in China, and we're headed over there to visit the fair.
Exciting.
Very, very soon. And so I have a question, Neil. Who can actually attend this fair?
Well, anyone can really. It used to be that it was only for domestic companies and domestic people, so people all across China and throughout Asia. Now, of course, it's opened internationally to foreigners. So really, you get all kinds of people. You have to have a business, and that's the key. You can't just go there to visit as a visitor and just walk in. You know, there's a lot of security. They make sure they do all the background checks as far as you have to get invited to the show. And of course, getting into China, you have to have a visa, so you have to be invited to get a visa. And again, you have to be have a business. So you have to have business cards. You have to show that you're doing business. So it attracts typically people that are in business, or if they're looking to start a business and they've already gone through the process of registering themselves as either an LLC or some type of corporation. So it attracts whether you're a CEO, you're a president, you're a buyer, you're a designer, you're in business, whether you have one store or you have 1,000 retail stores, or you're selling online, you have an online Amazon store or Shopify or eBay store. Again, you're a company.
So really anyone, as long as you're looking for products that you are going to be selling.
Correct. And that's
So what happens
thing.
if I don't have a store and I don't have anything online yet and I'm not set up on Amazon and I'm just looking at the possibility of setting up on Amazon and say, for example, and I'm looking for a product so I can sell?
Right. And it's
Could I go?
You can go, but you just have to make sure that you have the proper documentation when you go. Again, you have to be invited, so you have to make sure, and you go through the process. If you go to their site, it'll show you some of the documents that you need to go there, because once you go there, again, you have to have business cards. You have to show that you're in business. And anyone can walk around to get ideas, so if you're looking to start a physical product business and you're looking to launch products on Amazon, but you really have no clue, you have that perfect product syndrome, you're not unsure, you kind of have an idea, it's a great place to get started. And we take a lot of people who, they're not exactly sure, but we know that they have a category they'd like to be involved with, and that's a great place to get started.
And one of the things we do is we train people in our programs on how to navigate around the fair and how to, trade fairs and the Canton Fair. I mean, you need a skill for that. So, when is the Canton Fair? Well, we mentioned we're going next week.
Right.
So when is the Canton Fair?
Just to jump back what you said, it's such a huge show. People say, well, I go to trade shows all the time in Las Vegas and in New York. It's totally different. First of all, there's a culture difference. There's a language barrier, but it's a huge, huge show. So it's held 2 times a year because it's so vast and so large. It's held in spring and autumn. So it's always held in April, and it's held in October. And so what they do is, it used to be that it would go on for like a month, and it was so difficult because people would literally have to stay at that booth and man it for a month. And since there was so much to see, I would be away. If you remember years ago, I'd be away for a month at a time because there was so much for me to do business with and, meet with companies. And I was, searching for products. Companies were hiring me to find their products there. So now they actually broke it down to 3 phases. So they have, each phase is anywhere from 4 to 7 days, depending on the phase. Some are a lot larger. And what they do is they'll have a 2 to 3 day break in between. So the next phase will start. And each phase, it tells you from hardware to automotive to small appliances, and there's another one that involves, small home appliances, utensils, ceramics, and apparel. So they break it down. They tell you where they are. So if you're only interested in the pet industry or the food industry, it tells you exactly when to go.
And what phase it's at.
And what phase it's at, exactly.
So it's so many days. How would someone navigate, or how would someone decide how long they're going to be there for? Because it's a long show.
Right.
So what is a good time frame? Should someone be there for 4 days, a week, the whole time?
Well, it really depends on your schedule and what you can afford, to be away from your office. The show, I'm going to say, if you're just looking for a product, there's so much to see, so you really have to be there, I'd say, for 4 to 5 days. Again, some of the phases for the category you may look at, if it's only 3 or 4 days, well, you've got to hit it. And that's why, again, it's so valuable for people to take our program, because we walk you through the steps, especially navigating a trade show. And because this one is so big, it can be really overwhelming. People will sometimes go into a panic when they get there. They're like, oh, I've been to trade shows in the U.S. I didn't realize it was going to be this big.
Is it
50,000 vendors? And it's
huge.
building to building to building.
And floors.
And floors and halls. And they didn't realize. And years ago, when it was in a different part of Guangzhou, it was, it was interrupted in the city where you had to cross the street to get to this building, and you had to go around that building to get to another building. And it wasn't that it was so confusing. It took up a lot of time just walking, because you had to go walk to all these buildings around within, I'm going to say, a mile and a half. So it was a tiring day. Now they actually moved it to one whole, it's called the Paozhou complex, and there they've actually housed this whole, it used to be just farmland and vacant land. They have building after building after building filled with commodities and products and vendors and manufacturers and trading companies. So there's so much to see. And, I consider myself an expert. I've been doing trade shows for over 35 years, so I have it down to a T on how to navigate these shows, and then that's what we do in our program. So the people that come with us, for example, coming with us in 10 days, almost 2 weeks, for the Canton Fair, they're going to be ready for that show, and they're going to feel that they're capable of just doing all the work they can at that show and making it a very valuable trip for themselves.
So what if you're new to sourcing or importing? We talk a lot about, Alibaba, and you can go online and access Alibaba and source and import directly from there. So what if you're new to sourcing and importing? Should they go right first to Alibaba, or should they go directly to the Canton Fair?
That's a great question, Karen. You know, Alibaba is always a great place to start. Any of the online Alibaba, AliExpress, it just kind of gives you a taste of how companies show their product or what they have, or the MOQs, which stands for minimum order quantity, and then some of the pricing. Of course, the pricing will always be lower once you go directly to China and speak with the manufacturers and suppliers. But Alibaba is a great way. You know, we like to talk in our program and tell people, you know, if you take our program, you learn a ton. When you actually go to China with us and you implement it, it's just amazing because you get business done. So Alibaba is a great start, but really, if you go to China and you know, go with us, when we take our groups to China, you learn so much more because we also do masterminding there. You're also right there doing business. You don't have to spend hours and hours on Alibaba or AliExpress, you know, searching and searching. You have all these vendors. You have 50,000 vendors.
Right. So you save a ton of time.
Right.
Ton of time. And
time is money.
Exactly. I mean, when you it's a time-consuming process to source. I mean, you're sourcing, then the communication back and forth, and the emails, and the delays, and then waiting for samples to come in. All that could be done. You know, it could take months to do on Alibaba.
Months and months, yes.
Whereas when you're at the Canton Fair, it's something that can be done within a week.
Right.
And you
get
have
to touch
everything.
it.
So
right.
just think how fast you could be working. I mean, if time is in the essence,
exactly how fast you're going to be making money. So when you go to the show, it's an absolute gold mine going to the Canton Fair, especially when we take people. So for importers or retailers or people in the physical product business, if you're looking to start or already have products that you're buying from Alibaba online, if you come with us, it's an amazing experience, not only in business but also culturally.
And if you go to our website over at privatelabeluniversity.com, you'll see we have a tab that says China Trip. Easy, China Trip. And you can read about what we do on the China Trip and what's involved and all that stuff. So you can see the experience there, and it really is incredible. We get great feedback. And
we make it an incredible
very,
experience.
very successful people who come with us and who, even beginning, who have learned so much from that, are doing really, really, really well. So it's a great experience. There really is no trip like that or experience like that out there, and that's what's important. So again, you can go to the site and you can read about that. It's you can click the tab China Trip. That's simple. China Trip. So we hear a lot from our clients with regards to China being, you know, going on these trips. Well, it's expensive to go to China, so why not just focus on Alibaba? It's free. And again, the same thing as I mentioned earlier, you can spend months sourcing for products on Alibaba. But the Canton Fair brings everyone to you in one place, 50,000 vendors in one place. So what you can accomplish in 1 week at the fair could take you months to do on Alibaba on your computer. Yes, you're on your computer and you're home, but it could take months. And you have the support of experts with you, so things move really, really quickly, right?
Exactly. You know, many suppliers and manufacturers, they use the Canton Fair as an opportunity to launch their newest products. And if you're someone who's looking for a new exciting product, whether you're looking just to launch your product on Amazon, or you've been in business for 25 years and you're looking for new products because all your competitors or all the other companies in your industry are coming out with all these new products, how do you think they do it? They'd come with us to China.
Exactly, right. And you can't find that stuff on Alibaba. And also another thing is you don't know who you're dealing with on Alibaba.
Correct.
When you're at the fair and you're meeting people directly, you're creating relationships. You're actually seeing them and understanding what the company's about, so you can then decipher who's real and who's not. So it makes it really easy in that respect. So, you know, when you talk about expense, yes, Alibaba is free, but how much time and effort are you putting into it? That costs
Emails
money.
back and forth.
And not even that. You can end up with a supplier that ends up taking your money, and then it ends up costing you.
That's
and
right.
you got nothing in
That's
return.
right. Or
so
the supplier
at least in
doesn't...
person, you know, somewhere at the fair. So it's really... it's worth every single penny.
It is. It's well worth it. And again, the Canton Fair, as I mentioned, is a place where a lot of companies launch their products. So it's the place to be if you really want to be an early mover and shaker, to have that advantage over your competitor or in your industry. If you want to be the person to launch the newest products, the funny thing is those Segways that you see now, I saw those 6 years ago in China, and companies were looking to launch it, and they were actually the factories in China were launching them in Europe. In other parts of the world, hadn't even come to the U.S. And they got all excited when they heard, oh, you're from the USA. How about this product? Well, of course, I wanted to make sure I do all the checks on how it's manufactured.
You mean so it's not blowing up?
So it's not blowing up, all the regulations. And I went to factories and I said, show me this certificate, show me that certificate. And I go, well, we don't have it ready yet, but we're shipping them into these countries. Well, okay, that's good for them. It's not going to work in North America. And so, doing a lot of those inspections for us makes it very important, and we train people who take our program what to look for. When you're dealing with a company, especially if it's only on Alibaba, you don't get access to see all those certificates all the time. Sometimes they'll show them, or if you ask them, they'll tell you. But if you're at the show, you actually get to meet the people that are making that product. So that's a huge advantage.
And I'm excited. I can't wait to see what new stuff we're going to find when we're over there.
You're going to see lots of new things.
Oh my goodness, I'm going to have PPS.
I'm not taking you to the shoe building.
Yes, I'm going to have perfect product syndrome.
Right.
Okay, well, let's take a short break here. We will be right back, and we'll talk more about the Canton Fair. We are Karen and Neil Gwartzman, Private Label University.
The prom ended with gunfire. It happened in northern Wisconsin at Antigo High School last night. 3 people shot and hurt, including the suspected shooter. The other 2 injured are students. ABC's Rebecca Cardenas says they're all expected to survive.
We're just finding out right now that the injuries of those victims are non-life-threatening. This is absolutely devastating. When I arrived here, parents were being let in and out of the blocks and the school entrances. At this point, all of the students have been picked up from the school and are home safely with their parents, those that were left over from the event.
The suspected shooter is in custody. The body of Prince has been cremated. His family held a small private service in Minneapolis. Details of a larger public memorial have yet to be announced. President Obama has arrived in Germany for a 2-day trip. He's trying to promote a transatlantic trade deal between the U.S. and Europe, and he's expected to discuss counterterrorism as well. This is ABC News.
Are you working so hard to make
News Talk 710, KNUS.
Hi, friends. The voice of Denver sports teams, Alan Roach here. I'm enjoying the football off-season, but when it comes to your investments, especially as you get closer to your retirement, there is no such thing as an off-season. The markets are always in play, year-round. And that's why I want to talk with you today about Asset Lock, a portfolio monitoring software that's designed to do 2 things. Number 1, help protect your profits when the market is up. And number 2, help limit any potential losses when the market goes down. It's like signing a player who can improve your team's offense and defense at the same time. Asset Lock is award-winning technology, and it was created right here in Denver during a season of volatility on Wall Street. Find out how Asset Lock can work for you and your portfolio. Call 720-457-6844. That's 720-457-6844. Ask about Asset Lock today.
Dad, I'm really afraid of what's happening with the economy. There's too much civil unrest, too much terrorism, and unstable global markets. I'm tired of riding the ups and downs of the market. It reminds me of 2008. I was caught off guard then. How do I prepare for the worst now? What'll I do if the dollar collapses?
You gotta stop worrying, son, and take action. It's time to think about a precious metals private storage IRA or an investment in silver with the Gold Silver Group. Like I said before, you insure your house, your car, your kids, and your life. Don't you think it's time to insure your wealth?
Call Gold Silver Group at 800-679-0870. Learn how easy it is to set up your own precious metals private storage IRA and how you can qualify for up to $700 in free silver. Gold Silver Group can satisfy any of your precious metals investment needs. Receive your gold and silver fully insured and privately delivered to your door. Call Gold Silver Group, 800-679-0870, 800-679-0870.
Crabs, 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 and more crabs. When it comes to crabs, the Fresh Fish Company really shells out. Hi, this is Karen, owner of the Fresh Fish Company. If you love crab, then you'll love our most popular seafood event of the year. Running now through April 25th, you can indulge in over 20 different delicious crab dishes. To cure your crab craving, try sweet, delectable snow crab or succulent, meaty Alaskan king crab crab, or how about Florida stone crab? You might prefer our famous crab cakes or salmon Oscar topped with crab. Still can't decide? Then go Oregon Dungeness crab. Start your meal off with crab artichoke dip, crab claws, or our famous crab and corn chowder. And for the true crab connoisseur, finish your meal with our unbelievable crab ice cream. All of these special Crab Festival dishes are available during lunch and dinner, along with our regular Fresh Fish Company menu. So don't miss out on the Fresh Fish Company's Crab Festival, running now through April 25th. We're accepting reservations now at 303-740-9556.
Private Label University with your hosts, Karen and Neil Gwartzman on News Talk 710 KNUS.
For those of you just joining us, we are Karen and Neil Gwartzman, and you are listening to the Private Label University on 710 KNUS. This is where we unlock the secrets each week to your online selling success. So visit us over at theprivatelabeluniversity.com, where we offer a ton of free content and where you will find our 8-week Import Success Formula program. This is the formula to sourcing and importing products so you too can start selling products on Amazon or online and start making the money that everyone's talking about. And while you're over on our website, leave us a message or a question and we'll answer it on the show. So we were just talking about the Canton Fair and how many vendors there are. There are over 50,000 vendors. Neil, how do you not get perfect product syndrome?
Perfect product syndrome.
Which is product overwhelm. There's so many products to look at and there's 50,000 vendors. How do you not get overwhelmed?
Well, I don't get overwhelmed because I have such experience doing trade shows. However, I meet a lot of people in different industries and different businesses, retailers and manufacturers who go to trade shows in North America and they walk through, let's say, the Javits Center in New York or the LA shows, or in Georgia they have the Merchandise Mart, and what happens, they say, oh my God, there's so many products. I thought, you haven't been to China yet, because in Guangzhou, where they have the Canton Fair, it is huge. It's building after building and vendor after vendor after vendor. You look down these aisles and they just extend forever. And yeah, how do you do it? There's a process. You have to learn when you're walking through, especially a show that size, not to be overwhelmed. And the key is, of course, when we take our clients and our students to the show, they're prepared, so they're not going to get into a panic, because there are so many products to see, so many vendors to see, that you really have to take it slow. And again, you have to have there's a method to the madness there. When you're going through that show, you really have to know how to navigate.
Okay, so why don't you walk us through the Canton Fair experience?
Wow, okay. Well, I remember back, the first time I was there was actually in 1986. And in 1986, I went to China. I was actually, a company hired me to do some work in Taiwan, and then they heard, since I was so close, they said, well, we need you to find some products, and we're going to send you to the Canton Fair. And I was coming from Canada. I've done some work in Asia already. I hadn't been to that fair. And I've done large fairs in Japan, in South Korea, in Taiwan. And I thought, well, it couldn't be any bigger than some of the mega shows I've been in those places. So I arrived, and wow, it was held, of course, in the city, what I would call the downtown area. And it was just, it just expanded from building to building to building. And from that building, there were smaller buildings. So imagine walking through let's say, downtown New York City. So you're in the Jacob Javits. If people have been there, that's a big convention center in New York City. But then you're walking to all these other buildings in other industrial little areas, and then behind hotels to more areas. And each building has, I'm going to say some of them had 6 or 7 floors. And since there was so many people attending that show just from China and other parts of Asia, and it was hot. It would be, again, even in autumn, it could be, humidity was high. You would get, the elevators would just shut down because
so I'm a little overwhelmed.
So you'd be taking these stairs up 5, 6 floors, and it was hot. So I would carry a little towel just to wipe yourself down, because you're walking through all these little corridors with thousands of vendors. maybe someone who just had custom Christmas eggs or custom little pieces for a phone accessories. So you learn how to find each building, how to navigate. And then let's say I was going there to meet a specific factory. And back then you kind of have to look around. They didn't have all the computers set up for little kiosks to tell you. So they'd have a person that maybe would take you there. And even they would get lost because there was just all these little corridors that people would be renting just to have a space. And they'd be there for weeks. So again, I would be there for so long just trying to find everyone. So an amazing thing. And back then, I was a little more adventurous than your typical foreigner. A lot of people from Europe and Canada and Mexico and the U.S., they just stayed away from that show because they knew that it was difficult to get around. And, of course, the language barrier. For me, languages come fairly easy. And I had always worked in parts of Asia, and especially Taiwan. So for me, going to that show was very exciting. And, again, I remember arriving in Hong Kong, staying there for a little while, then heading over to Guangzhou. And again, amazing things, seeing all those vendors and all those companies in one place.
Well, it sounds overwhelming.
It was crammed.
But they have definitely stepped it up and made it more organized now, thank goodness.
Correct.
So if you could let's walk through the fair as if, pretend everyone shut their eyes and pretend that we're in China. Right now we're in China. We got off the airplane, we're getting in that cab, we're headed to our hotel, we're all settled in.
And then
we're
you pass out because of the time change.
Time difference. We're all there, we're in China, we're in Guangzhou, and it's the first day of the fair.
So it's the first day of the fair. You go through all the standard procedures, and they have actual procedures of entering the fair and getting a badge. So you have to show that, again, who you are, you're in business, showing your name card. Lots and lots of people, and they have barriers set up because there's people as you enter who want to, let's say, make business cards for you or be an interpreter or say they can help you. And again, when you have over 13 million, close to 15 million people living in Guangzhou now, they know that the fair is going on, so everyone rushes down to do business there. And, people selling from, different foods to pens on the street to prepare you, even little calculators. So you have to go and register at the show. And once you register, they take your photo, they take your passport, they make sure you have a Chinese visa. Of course, you wouldn't be
in the country
if
you
you
didn't have your
one.
Chinese visa. And again, we prepare everyone through our
yes.
programs and get all the invitations and all that stuff for you. But this is just the day you go in, you get your badge.
Right.
And then where do you go?
And then you walk out and you see all these buildings. So you're given a basic map, and you look at the map, and you actually have to even cross an area where they make sure you're not sick. So these people are wearing a hazmat suit, and they're wearing masks, and they ask do you have a cold or are you feeling sick? And they actually take this little wand, much like they do at TSA when they're checking, and they wave you down and make sure that, of course, they don't want to have sick people walking around and making lots of other people sick.
No bird flu.
No bird flu, exactly. And I remember at the time when bird flu was rampant, I was one of the few people at the show because a lot of people were just staying away. They didn't want to be around that population of people. So you walk into the show and you look at a map and you say, okay, I'm interested in automotive supplies. And you see the building that has automotive supplies, and they have escalators and they have some of the moving escalators or ramps because these buildings are so large. And you see the hall that you'd enter for that, and then you walk into this huge hall that has vendor after vendor after vendor, and a lot of them are broken down to, let's say, province. So it could be in Jiangsu province, Zhejiang province, and within that province they have all these different trading companies. So not necessarily all manufacturers, they're trading companies. They're people who buy from manufacturers or represent a manufacturer, and they are there to sell products as well. So when a lot of people think they're buying direct, years ago, you had many more manufacturers there, and those manufacturers said, well, I don't have to be there. I'll just have a trading company, and I'll sell to more trading companies. And so you have a lot of trading companies. So again, a lot of misconception of people say, well, I went to the fair and I'm dealing directly with the manufacturer. A lot of times it's just a trading company or an agent.
And sometimes that's okay because sometimes the manufacturer doesn't export. And so they have a middleman that comes in to help with that.
Exactly. And that's what we teach people in our program what to look out for to see the difference if it's a trading company, if it's an agent. And again, the pros and cons of dealing with a trading company or agent as opposed to a manufacturer. And again, some of the manufacturers, they're just so large, they may demand that you have to buy, thousands and thousands. So they have a trading company who can buy smaller quantities and they're there. And again, like Karen said, that's okay because it helps you in launching your business, especially if the cost of the product is low enough.
Absolutely. Okay, so that was day one of the fair.
That was just entering the fair.
So let's take a quick break here. We are Karen and Neil Gwartzman with the Private Label University, and we'll come back and talk about the other days of the fair.
KNUS News Talk 710.
Would an extra $1,000 a month, $5,000 a month, or even $10,000 a month help you live a better life? It doesn't have to stop there. People just like you are making thousands of dollars selling products on Amazon. The best part is, it's simple. All you need is a product. Karen and Neil Gwartzman, creators of Private Label University, are here to show you how. How to find that perfect product so you can join millions of people and start making the money that everyone is talking about on Amazon. Private Label University unlocks 35 years of secrets about sourcing, importing, and private labeling products for big chain stores. Karen and Neil truly believe in you. So much that they'll invest $500 towards your tuition in the Private Label University program, the Import Success Formula. Go to Karen and Neil's website at privatelabeluniversity.com and enroll in the Import Success Formula program. Enter code PLU for $500 off your tuition of the program when paid in full. So what are you waiting for? Head over to privatelabeluniversity.com and sign up today.
Do you suffer from pain, numbness, tingling, or burning in the hands or feet? It's called peripheral neuropathy. Tired of taking drugs that don't fix the problem or being treated without success? Well, Chronic Conditions Center of Colorado and Dr. Chris Steiner have created a program with no surgery, drugs, or injections, but with real results. Here's Diane.
I was in a lot of pain in my feet from neuropathy. It was what I thought was my final chance. I've been to the Mayo Clinic, to neurologists, several other doctors. I had a bag of pills to help me walk. Doc was very, very positive. I kind of was pretty skeptical, but I'm not anymore. I had 3 treatments last week. I had 1 treatment this week, and last night I was walking in, 4-inch high heels.
Chronic Conditions Center of Colorado treats many types of chronic pain, and they have treatment programs for ADD and ADHD. Call Dr. Steiner at 303-660-2668 or visit them online at chronicconditionsco.com. That's chronicconditionsco.com.
We now return to the Private Label University with your hosts, Karen and Neil Gwartzman on News Talk 710 KNUS.
So welcome back from that short break. You are listening to Karen and Neil Gwartzman here at the Private Label University. We have been talking about the Canton Fair. And as we mentioned, we are headed to the Canton Fair in China with a group of entrepreneurs who are looking for products or looking to find suppliers for their products. And we attend the fair twice a year, April and October, and it truly is the place to find the perfect product to sell online, or on Amazon or for your retail stores. So check out our website over at privatelabeluniversity.com, and you can see when our next trip is.
Yeah, it really is the trip of a lifetime. And that's why we just love taking entrepreneurs and retailers so they can implement what they've done in our program. So we were just talking about, of course, being at the show. And I walked you through kind of, when I get to the show and getting into the first hall and looking for the category that I'm interested in. And you really want to spend your time maximizing your time while you're there.
So we talked about the first day, getting your badge and everything. Yes. So what happens on the other days?
The other days, you're going to concentrate on looking for your product. You don't want to have that product overload. So you're going to concentrate. If you're, there to look for pet products, you're going to go to the building that has the pet products, and you're going to navigate through that hall, looking at all the vendors and all the manufacturers, looking at the difference of products they offer, the qualities, the prices. Because there's so many companies offering sometimes the exact same product. Well, you don't know who's manufacturing it. They may say they all manufacture it, but the key is looking on their supply chain of how they're going to service you. That's a key. You want to make sure that when you work with a supplier or manufacturer that you're going to be happy on the way the product gets to you, it's supplied to you, the way they can communicate with you. And they'll show you the different, products that they have, and maybe, do they have other product categories that can, increase your business. So instead of just having the one type of, let's say, dog collar, they may have accessories for that. So you're going to concentrate on your category and not get distracted, because it's easy to get distracted at the show because it's so big and having so many products. If you went there for pet products and then let's say your passion is pocket knives and there's a whole camping section that has a whole hall of knives, and you're going, wow, well, I just want to go over and look at the knives there, and all of a sudden you're spending hours in a hall that's not dedicated to what you came there for your business to make money.
And that makes sense. So that actually, why don't you give our listeners, because there might be people out there considering going to the Canton Fair or maybe already planning to go to the Canton Fair, what are some tips that you can give, say, first-time travelers to the Canton Fair?
So the first tip is learn how to use chopsticks. That's a key. Because
there's no forks there. No,
learn how to use chopsticks. The main thing is you can't panic when you're there. And again, we train people and teach them that when you get there, you really, again, have to be concentrating on your product.
Because you need to be focused.
You have to be focused because you're there for a purpose of business. Of course, you're there to see how business is done and the culture and the experience, but you're there to further your business and make money. And you want to make sure that you're not distracted from other things, because there's lots going on and there's a lot of categories at that fair. If you have, I tell people, well, they say, well, I'm going through so many halls and aisles, and now I don't know what to think. So what do? I say, well, just take a break, walk outside, go have some kung pao chicken, go have a pigeon, which is beer, have some cha, some tea, just relax, and then go back in, because it's all about you're there to do business, and it's for your business. And so you want to make sure that, again, you're focused on why you're there.
And I think also you can get lost. You
can get lost, and then all of a sudden you see someone advertising a booth for foot massage, and you think, and then the next 4 hours are gone because you fell asleep. You want to make sure that you're really focused.
Right, but also when you're in the aisles, everything kind of connects into the next building. So what kind of strategy can you give, or tips can you give as far as not getting lost at the fair?
That's great, Karen. Yeah, it's true. The halls will have, let's say there's automotive accessories. And then the halls are so large, and you're looking at, they do follow kind of alphanumeric. However, you walk literally just outside another door. It's not even another building, and you're in camping accessories, which may look similar to some of the car accessories or some of the phone accessories. And all of a sudden, you're walking down these aisles, and you say, well, what happened to the other supplies? And you have to walk back. So again, looking at the size of the hall, looking at where you are, taking pictures, making sure that when you look up, there's always flags hanging down that say Hall A or Hall B, Aisle A, Aisle 22. You want to make sure that you're following the aisles, just like, you get on an airplane. I always joke around, people, they can't find their seat. Okay, you're on an airplane. It's not difficult to follow this. It's, you're in 22A, 22C. Exactly. So you really have to follow that, and it works the same way at these halls and at these trade fairs, but you don't get lost.
And I want to mention actually another tip when you were talking about photos. You need to ask permission to take the photos. It's just respectful. And if you find a booth that you want to go into and it has products that you're interested in, take a photo if it's allowed, so that you can where it is and you know what it's called, and then this way you can go back to it.
Right. Yeah, and it's true, because it is, these companies are showing products that are proprietary to them, and a lot of the booths will put out pictures or words that say no photos, no pictures allowed, and people say, well, they're not going to really notice, or what are they going to do? I have seen security come over, take their phone and erase it, or take their cameras and erase it, because it says no phones. Also with currency, the currency is different there, so people have to be aware when they're traveling to China that you have the renminbi. That's the China currency.
And we recommend that you purchase this in advance, which is a great tip, because it's
right when you get off the plane. Yeah, if you don't have some of them will take U.S. dollars, but they'll say no, go get it changed. And if there's no bank open and you don't have it, what are you going to do?
And
So-
and in our tour, in our trip, we take people to some of the local markets so they can do some sourcing there, and they don't take credit cards and they don't take U.S. dollars. You have to have the currency.
Exactly. And so that's important to know that, again, you're going to a totally different country with different language, different cultures, and even the food. People think, I'm going to China. Well, I have Chinese food here all the time. It is totally different. There's no egg rolls. There's no egg rolls there, okay? If you go to China, you order an egg roll, they're going to look at you and say, what? It doesn't exist. Just like fortune cookies. Doesn't exist. That's for North Americans. So when you go there...
We're going to have to bring our own fortune cookies.
Yeah. So, again, with food, people walk into restaurants, and a lot of the traditional restaurants, when you walk in, you walk in an area that has all kinds of tanks filled with every type of seafood, everything you can think of that's in the ocean, it's there. And even if it swims or crawls, so there could be tanks with snakes and turtles and frogs, and then there's cages, and you're ordering instead of just necessarily off a menu, you're choosing the animal, and it's cooked fresh. So that's the key. It's all fresh. The vegetables are fresh. The watermelon is unbelievable. And I remember one year I was there, watermelons were being sold at 10 cents because they had an abundance of watermelons and they just couldn't sell enough in the country. 10 cents for a giant watermelon.
Amazing.
Yep.
So those are great tips.
Yes.
So if you are going to the Canton Fair or planning on it, those are great tips to navigate around. Perfect. So we actually have some questions. So let's jump into question time.
It's question time with your dynamic duo hosts, Karen and Neil Gwartzman. What's your billion-dollar question?
Pow, right?
Shazam, pow.
Okay, so we're here at question time. So we have a question actually from Neil, but it's not you. It's another Neil.
Neal, the wrong way of spelling it.
Yeah, so how do you know you are working directly with the factory if you source on Alibaba? That's a great question. Actually, maybe you can first explain Alibaba to those who weren't here earlier when we were talking about it.
So Alibaba is an online selling platform for China. Jack Ma, who created Alibaba for factories, for trading companies, it was basically a place that Chinese companies could advertise to the rest of the world of the products they have or the products they represent and offer to sell them to people who want to import them. So it's a great place of, if you're starting to look to import products or source products, it's a great site. You don't know if you're buying directly from a manufacturer. That's a key. And again, that's why we really promote our China trip to the Canton Fair, because if you go on Alibaba, a lot of times it'll say manufacturer, it'll say import-export company. Well, then they're not a manufacturer. It'll say trading company. They're not a manufacturer. It'll say agency, which means they're not a manufacturer. And a lot of manufacturers, since there's quite a few in China, they don't want to advertise on Alibaba because there could be a language barrier for them. They may not have all the literature translated. So, there's people that will just show those products to sell them. But the key is you don't know if it's a good supplier because you're just looking at pictures. And that's why we say it's a great thing if you come with us to China on our China trip to the Canton Fair, because then you actually get to meet a lot of the companies that are showing those products. And it's a way to find out actually if they're a manufacturer.
It's really an experience.
Yeah, experience of a lifetime. So that's the key when again, if you go on Alibaba, AliExpress, you don't know. If you're communicating with the people and those companies and those factories online through emails, again, they may tell you they're a manufacturer. They can send you all the pictures they want. How do you know that it's from
Well, you've got to spend some more time sourcing with them, and it takes a lot more time.
Exactly. And that's why you mentioned earlier, you can spend months and months trying to source an Alibaba, but when you come with us on our China trip to the Canton Fair, it really is, it saves you months and months, sometimes years of sourcing for products.
Absolutely. Good question. So here's another question from Evan in Denver. Okay. Can you explain what a freight forwarder is, and is it the same as a customs broker?
Good question, Evan. Totally different. So a customs broker is a customs broker. They clear your products. They are the person that's involved when you're going to import a product, especially from through ocean freight. So freight forwarders sometimes have customs brokers that work in-house for them, and they will clear the products for you because it has to be cleared through U.S. Customs and Homeland Security. but there are customs brokers and a lot of very specialized ones that work on their own, and they have their own brokerage offices that are set up specifically when you have to clear a product. So if a freight forwarder says, oh, we do the customs clearance, you have to make sure that they actually have a license, because you need a license. You have to go to school. You have to be educated to be a customs broker. And there's a lot of bad customs brokers out there, I hate to say. There's a lot of really, really good ones. We work with some of the best ones in the country, and you want to make sure that they're specialized in what they do.
Good question. Okay, so we need to wrap up our show for today. We are Karen and Neil Gwartzman, the Private Label University, where we unlock the secrets each week to your online selling success. We want you to know that the Private Label University was made for you, for the entrepreneur. So if you're ready to release that entrepreneur in you, spend more time with your loved ones, and if you're ready to start making some serious money doing what you love to do, then join us each week here at the Private Label University on 710 KNUS Sundays at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. We entrepreneurs, we need to band together. We need to support each other. There is enough success to go around. How much more fun would it be if we could do it together? So be sure to visit us over at www.privatelabeluniversity.com. That's privatelabeluniversity.com, where we offer you a ton of free content. And don't forget to check out our 8-week Import Success Formula program. Our program also, the free program, a fast-track boot camp to private labeling, is also available. So visit us over on our website. We'd love to hear from you. You can leave us a message there. We are Karen and Neil Gwartzman with the Private Label University.
Thank you. Sorry, Jen.
I wanna be a billionaire so freaking bad.
Thank you for joining Karen and Neil Gwartzman at 710 KNUS, the Private Label University, the only show that dares to unlock the secrets to your online selling success so you can start making money and living your dreams. Remember to visit us over at www.privatelabeluniversity.com for tons of free content. While you're there, leave us a message and we'll air your comments and questions on the show. Listen to us every Sunday at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. The dynamic duo, Karen and Neil, are now signing off.